30 seconds and counting. Team.
Hey, what's good, yo? Welcome back to another video. It's Anish. I'm joined with DJ, and the Rockets have officially secured the top 3 pick in the NBA draft. They got pick number 3, and I believe this is what everyone was hoping for, getting one of the top 3 guys in Chet, Jabari, or Paolo Banchero. I think is fantastic for us. But yeah, I was like really holding my breath when they were announcing like the pick 5 and pick 4. But I'm really happy that we got pick 3. To me, it's like really stress free because you just choose the one remaining out of the 3. And that guy is going to have the biggest chip on his shoulder because he thought he's going to go number 1. And honestly, I'd be fine with either of the 3. They all seem pretty humble and hardworking. But DJ, what were your instant reactions to the Rockets getting the 3rd pick?
Well, honestly, my reaction really just changed. I was just praying that we didn't get pick 5 because that would have been like the worst case scenario, or even honestly pick 4. I'm just happy we get one of the 3 big men because the Rockets desperately need big man help. So I'm also just like thinking how this will be like affecting like the organization. I remember like from last year, pretty much Rockets Nation was like divided on whether they wanted Evan Mobley or they wanted Jalen Green. As we have the number 2 pick, we could have picked either or. But like I feel like in this, well, having this number 3 pick, it's like the destiny is like out of our hands. We're just gonna get whoever is not taken. So if Banchero gets taken 1, Chet gets taken 2, we get Jabari at 3. If Banchero or if Chet's taken 1, Jabari taken 2, we get Chet at 3. As vice versa. We'll just get whoever is not taken, and we're just gonna focus on rebuilding, using that player development, getting that person to fit well with this team. There's a lot of different thoughts that went into it, but overall, I am not upset with getting this number 3 pick.
Yeah, and I think about what Rafael Stone said. He said his philosophy is always to go with best player available. So that's going to be the case, whoever falls to 3. So it's kind of interesting because we're not really, like you said, choosing our own destiny. We're just seeing who falls to us in a way. So, and some other quotes that he said our game rewards size and athleticism. And that screams Banchero to me. And then he said when evaluating on tape versus workouts, he said it's 99% tape and you can't overreact to what you see on a given day. So pretty interesting insights from Rafael Stone as per usual. I think Banchero is the most like eye popping to me because he said like, oh, I wanted to play with Kevin Porter Jr. He's been liking some Rocket stuff. We were kind of on that like detective mission on like the likes and stuff for Jalen Green, and there's a lot of things that he liked about the Rockets. So maybe we'll go on another goose hunt this off season. But I think it's pretty interesting. I don't know. Do you think the fan base wants more Banchero or Jabari? Because I think we both agree that Chet is probably not going to fall to the Rockets, given that the Magic are the pick number 1 and the OKC Thunder are pick number 2.
Yeah, so yeah, basically that elimination, I feel like their main guy would probably be either Paulo or Chet, just because they would want to get like one of those people that has that like star potential, and that while Jabari is more of like a safer choice. And the same goes with the Thunder. The Thunder are looking for that super player, but Giddy's gonna be like a 3rd option on like a championship team. So they would want to get that like star person to pair up with them. So I feel like Paula, like you said, has that Seattle connection with Kevin Porter Jr. So they're homies in that regard. He's also liked a bunch of, like Rockets media stuff on Twitter. And, he just seems like that vibes guy, the same like vibes that we had when it came to, before drafting Jalen Green. Just he fits in. He's that culture guy, kind of, if that makes sense. Meanwhile, Jabari is also, I feel like Jabari can also be like that vibes guy, but his game is a little different. The fact that he's more of a, a spot up, off the dribble, also a really good defender. So at this point, it's really just up to Stone. Like he says, best player available. Whether if it's going strictly best player available, I think he might end up taking Paulo. more of like a fit, but also like a great player might be Jabari of mix. So man, I feel like as we get closer to the actual NBA draft, once they get some like footage from like workouts and like more stuff that's coming from the combine, we're gonna get a better perspective and a better like dive into like what exactly our front office would be thinking.
Yeah, and the NBA draft is on June 23rd. So there's a good month of all these rumors and smoke screens and whatnot. So it's gonna be really, really interesting. I've been like reading more into Banchero and Jabari. It's like it's kind of hard to go wrong with either of them. They seem like they seem pretty solid prospects. Like with Banchero, you get someone who has really good size, 6'10" and a 7 foot wingspan. And people say that his defense isn't the greatest, like he lacks effort at times. I just feel like just having that big body in there, it's just gonna kind of deter some people from trying to attack him. So I feel like maybe like I guess like some of the flaws of these prospects are kind of overblown. And like Jabari, he they say like his handle needs to be better. But he's shown some flashes where he's been able to attack the rim. So like so so obviously it's going to be really interesting what happens. I think we mentioned it earlier, like who's going to be like the the ball knower guy, like the the baller guy, and who's the analytic guy. But here is just like both have pretty good feel for the game. Like Jabari, he has such a clean shooting motion, and Banchero also does too, actually. So it's gonna be, so yeah. So let's just talk about like what a possible like draft would be. So we both think that Chet's gonna go. Let's say number one to the Magic. He has that connection with Jalen Suggs, and I think they could really he would be a great piece to them. On defense. They have a great defense, Franz Wagner, and then Jalen Suggs, and then Chet. That's going to be good. Do you agree with that, or do you think Chet's going to go to OKC instead?
They have pretty good big men depth. They have guys like Mo Bamba. They have guys like Wendell Carter Jr. So like those are some like pretty good like center play right there. So I don't think they necessarily need a guy like Chet, who Chet can pretty much only run center. I really doubt he's gonna be able to play like power forward, even though his frame might suggest it. Just the fact that he can't exactly space the floor as well as Jabari or Paulo would make him more inclined to play the five by any team. So for that reason, I feel like Paulo would be the choice, the guy that the Magic take, because they already have a guy that they can kind of build around in Jalen Suggs. They have some solid pieces around him, in Markel Fultz, in Cole Anthony, Jonathan Isaac, Wendell Carter, all these like really good like role players, but they still need to find that star. And I feel like if they were to be on that look for that star, they would end up taking Paulo because he has the most star potential. His big frame, his shooting motion, his playmaking. His defense when he tries is pretty adequate. Just his IQ, his feel for the game, it's all really there. So I feel like he would be the ideal choice, in my opinion, going number one overall to the Magic. And then, going number two, I feel like would be Chet. OKC needs some big men. I think their best big man was like Mike Muscala and Derek Favors, and they were playing like the entire year. And keep in mind, this was the same OKC team that pretty much had like the lowest like age out of like everything. They were the youngest team like out there playing guys that like from their entire like G League towards the end of the year. So like they are in a full rebuild. They are not looking to like win pretty much at all. And they want to just start fresh. I feel like what they would do, they would get Chet, he has that boomer bust potential, mainly like just because of his frame. He is a little skinnier, but at the same time, I feel like OKC is that kind of team that would realize, yo, we have the time, we have the draft picks in the future in case this one doesn't go right. Let's take the guy that we feel like has a really good chance to try to develop him. And so I feel like they would end up taking Chet, which would eventually leave the Rockets at number three to get Jabari Smith Jr., which, in my opinion, is the ideal player for our team.
Yeah, I mean, I would love Jabari here, honestly, because you need 3 and D players, and he has that potential to be an elite 3 and D player. And like he isn't gonna be someone who's gonna be taking the ball. out of like say KPJ's hands or Jalen Green's hands, he's going to be like a nice piece that like really fits into the puzzle that we're trying to create. So, I mean, like what you said with Banchero going number one, that completely makes sense. Like he has that versatility, like you said, star potential. Um, so it's easy to see that. And then like you said with Chet going to like the Thunder have so many draft picks in the next coming years. I think they have 17 first round picks in the next 5 drafts. That's absolutely insane. And they've been trying to find their big man, like with Poku, I can't say his whole name, but Poku. He hasn't turned out the greatest, so I mean it'll be kind of funny if they get another skinny white guy, but yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting. I think that's the guy that they're looking for. And then yeah, and that leaves with a Jabari, and he has a crazy high motor. He has potential to be like kind of guard 1 through 5. Just with his build and size, and he models his game after KD, AD, and Chris Middleton, um, and you see Jabari like sometimes the shot selection isn't the greatest. But I mean when you're shooting 43.6% from three, also getting a solid averaging 1 block per game, 1.1 steals per game, 6.9 rebounds, 17.1 points. It's pretty promising, like to already have such good perimeter shooting entering the NBA. That's what a lot of people spend most of their time on. And so um, his main struggle is apparently like his dribbling. He needs to have a tighter dribble and have more awareness when he's dribbling, not go like tunnel vision. But that's like kind of like the biggest thing, honestly. Like the positives, they outweigh the negatives of Jabari. So it's easy to for me, it's easy to fall in love with any of these three guys. So that's why I'm at like this level of calm. So yeah, I think it's going to be pretty interesting how the draft will shake out, and we'll have more in-depth content for each of these guys in the future. So that's pretty much it for the video. Let us know your thoughts on the NBA lottery, and as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Thank you all for watching. Peace.